What's up guys, it's Kim. Welcome to the rabbit hole. And before I get to the review, I'm gonna do some stereotypical YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified with the latest videos. As you remember from last video, I talked about The Princess Bride coming to Disney Plus, and I also discussed how I'd never seen the movie. And I talked about when I see the movie, I'm going to do a segment here called What Should I Expect? I've seen the movie, it's on Disney Plus right now, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. For what I expected from the movie, I expected about just 3 things. Number 1, I expected it to be funny. Number 2, I expected a lot of romance. And number 3, I expected constant narration. Like I said, I didn't have big expectations for this movie. So, let's get into it. So with the movie, did I like it or not? And I'm gonna be honest with you about this movie. Alright? I absolutely love this movie. I can see why it's so beloved after 33 years. Yeah, 33. Yeah, 33 years. Yeah, there we go. The movie kind of started off slow. You don't even hear any type of sound in the beginning until the title pops up and you hear Fred Savage coughing, and he's playing this video game where the graphics at the time, people thought these were state of the art in 1987, but you know. So the grandfather, who's played by Peter Falk, who y'all know as Columbo, he comes in and he gives the grandson a book called The Princess Bride. Of course, the grandson's not interested in reading it. We're introduced to Wesley, played by Carrie Elways, and also Buttercup, played by Robin Wright. And my first reaction when I saw the main characters, especially to Wesley, my first thought was Carrie Elways was young as I'm not saying that I'm used to seeing him old, but I'm not used to seeing him that young in movies. He looked like he was like 14 or something, even though he was around 24, I believe. But anyway, she's a young woman. She always asks him about the farm boy, which is Wesley. She asks him to do some certain things before he even do. So Wesley is a poor farm boy. He works for Robin and her family. Robin asks the farm boy to do every single task. Before he even starts the task, he replies with "as you wish." According to the grandfather, "as you wish" sort of means "I love you." And then Wesley and Buttercup fall in love with each other. And then when Wesley has to go out and do something, Buttercup gets news that Wesley is murdered. And then she lives the next couple of years of sadness. She's introduced to a prince and she's promised to marry him. Buttercup is kidnapped by Vizzini and his henchman Inigo Montoya and Fezzik. If I'm pronouncing that right. Fezzik is played by Andre the Giant, of course. And Vizzini is played by Walt. They kidnap her and they take her onto the boat. And then she tries to jump off and she tries to swim away. But then there's this big giant eel that almost eats her. So she comes back up. She's rescued by the 3 bad guys. Of course, they come up to this rocky place and then they realize they're being chased by this mysterious masked man who kind of looks like Zorro in a way. So they go ahead and climb up the rope. Then the mysterious masked man is climbing up the rope for catching them on. Once the rest get to the top, they try to cut down the rope to make the masked man fall to his death, but then they realize that he counts the rocks, that way he doesn't fall. And so Vizzini, Fezzik. So Vizzini, Fezzik, and Buttercup go along the way, and Inigo Montoya throws down the rope to help up the masked man. Inigo Montoya wants to practice his swordsmanship against this masked man because he himself has a goal of killing the man who killed his father. Of course, he realizes that the masked man did not have 6 fingers, so of course it wasn't him. So they have a nice elaborate sword fight. In the middle of the sword fight, they literally have conversation with each other. They compliment it. Actually, they have a long conversation with each other, just a friendly conversation. All I know is that this was the nicest sword fight I've ever seen in my life. Nobody gets killed. They pretty much have a mutual respect for each other. So they go along their way. And then also when Vizzini realizes that Inigo Montoya did not kill the masked man, he sends in the giant Fezzik to go and do that job for him. So he has him throw stones at the masked man. So then they start having a fight. They start wrestling and everything. They have a nice conversation between each other too. Especially every time when Fezzik is trying to crush the masked man against all these boulders. But then the masked man puts Andre the Giant on the sleep rope. You know what? I'm gonna call the giant Andre because Fezzik, I cannot remember that name and I have to keep looking down in my script for that. So we're gonna call him Andre the Giant for that because that's the actor, the wrestler's name. So he puts Andre the Giant into a sleeper hold, you know, just to knock him out, and he's gonna be fine. So then he finally catches up to Vizzini and Buttercup. Vizzini threatens to kill the princess if he takes one step closer. So then the masked man decides to make a deal. So he decides to put in poison in one of the drinks. Then you have a battle of wits to see who's gonna drink the poison. Vizzini makes the masked man turn around, and then he switches the drinks, and then he drinks the poison, and then he thinks he has the last laugh until he drops down to his death. How did the masked man know about this? The masked man poisoned both the drinks. He just developed an immunity to poison. Buttercup pretty much believes that the masked man killed her poor Wesley. That she throws the masked man down the hill. On the long down the hill, the masked man says, "As you wish." Buttercup immediately realizes that masked man is Wesley, and then she goes and tumbles along down the hill with him. Wesley and Buttercup go into this swamp-like area. Fire comes out, quicksand, a lot of goo and shit. Also these ugly rat monsters that just pop up and they start attacking. Wesley battles the super rats. He kills them and everything. He's all bloody. Also, for a PG movie that's about fairy tales, they got some blood up in here. You know, you can't make movies like that today in this day and age. So anyway, the Princess Kingsmen retrieve back Buttercup, and then they send off Wesley to get killed. And then Wesley notices that one of the men has 6 fingers. Buttercup asks the prince, "If you love me, you will not kill this man." Wesley's tied up and he's about to get ready for torture. They're gonna kill him with these suction cups. Wesley gets tortured, and eventually he's killed. And so Inigo Montoya and Andre the Giant, they go ahead and look for him. They go ahead and look for him because the spirit of Inigo Montoya's dead father is helping guide him. That way they can rescue the princess. So they find a little hideout where Wesley was at, and they saw that Wesley is dead. So they take Wesley to this wizard to help restore him back to life. And the old wizard is played by Billy Crystal. I mean, you don't even recognize him until you hear him speak. Billy Crystal has one of those recognizable voices, and also he is very hilarious in this movie. He's able to revive him pretty much because they have a common enemy within that kingdom. Eventually he's able to give Wesley a serum that will resuscitate him back to life. So then Inigo and the giant carry a lifeless Wesley to the kingdom, and then when they feed him the chocolate, Wesley immediately comes back to life. He can't move his entire body just yet. He gradually moves some stuff, but he's still completely lifeless in a way, except that he's able to speak functionally, but he can't hold his head up straight. So they go ahead and they try to get a plan to go inside the kingdom. So they all dress up as this big scary monster to go ahead and attack the kingdom using fire and everything else. So they're able to get into the kingdom. And then the wedding is going on between the prince as well as Buttercup. Inigo Montoya is able to find the person who has killed his father. So then they have a big sword fight. Inigo gets stabbed. You think he's dead, but he wakes up. He builds up all the strength because the power of his father comes into him. Well, not literally, but he develops the strength, and he's able to defeat the man who killed his father. Buttercup actually goes into her room, and she's about to kill herself because Wesley did not come back for her. Just as she was about to slit her throat, she notices that Wesley's lying and chilling on her bed. And then the prince comes in. He threatens to kill Wesley, but then Wesley makes a threat back, and then he stands up and he holds his sword out. He tells the prince to sit his $5 ass down before he makes change. And so the giant as well as Inigo Montoya come up and they tie him up. Also, the 4 of them go off with their horses and they live happily ever after. So yeah, all in all, I really love this movie. This was really good. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a huge fanboy of it, but I wouldn't mind watching it again. But here we're gonna get some fun facts on this here. So with the name Buttercup, first of all, I don't know if I was thinking about a horse or a damn Powerpuff Girl. Also, Vizzini, I thought he was going to be a good guy for the whole time. And I didn't expect him to be only in the first act of the movie. And also another thing, The Princess Bride is an adaptation of the book by the same name that was released in 1973 by William Goldman. And William also serves as the screenwriter. It was a modest success in the box office. It didn't bomb, but it wasn't a blockbuster hit. Through direct-to-video and everything, that's where it became its most successful. The movie was well received by critics. And also recently, there was talks about doing a Princess Bride reboots, but the things that never happened because the fans of the movie absolutely despise that. They believe that the film is good as it is and doesn't need a reboot. It'll be ruined by that. With Goldman since passing, you know, you're not going to recapture the same magic of that. I'm glad that the fans stopped that. I wish they stopped another movie from getting a reboot. I'm looking at y'all. From a first time watcher, I really enjoyed it. I will watch this again. I will show this to anybody who hasn't seen it. So if you want to see The Princess Bride, it's streaming right now on Disney Plus. If you have a subscription, go ahead and do it. If you're sharing somebody else's subscription, do that limitedly, because you know how strict Disney is with their subscribers and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Disney soon, for real. If you enjoyed this video, please give a like, comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell, please. Until next time, peace.